Welcome to Road to Ownership. My name is Wes. Today we're going to continue with our segment. We call this segment Asset Ownership. Now, this segment, Asset Ownership, is based on this idea that we are entering in an era of asset ownership where everybody will be able to buy these four major asset classes, four major appreciating assets, or we also call them the stores of value. Now, you might ask yourself, why is asset ownership, this concept, this idea of owning assets for everyone, why is that relevant today? So that's what we're going to discuss with you. Now, before we go into this discussion, I want to ask you for a quick favor. Please, just take 1 second and subscribe to this channel. It will be greatly appreciated. Like they always say, is that an idea has to wait for its time. Not every idea can come anytime. So an idea penetrates society or diffuse through society because its time has come. So I'm going to share with you 3 basic reasons why this idea of asset ownership is diffusing through our society, through the global society today. Now, the very first reason why this idea, this concept of asset ownership is penetrating society, is diffusing through society today, is because of what they refer to as the democratization of information. Because of the internet, there are a lot of ideas that used to remain in small circles that are spreading because folks are making videos, podcasts, and are writing blog posts about different ideas. So ideas are a lot of ideas that was secret ideas that used to be just among a small group of people are spreading out. So this this concept of asset ownership is not new. It's been there for a very long time. Most of the rich people always knew how to preserve their value. That's why they always used to buy gold to preserve their value. But the majority of the folks never had that much wealth to preserve. So searching and looking for the best way to preserve value was not really relevant to them. So, but the rich always used to use vehicles to preserve their value, because they understood that currency was depreciating and that they had to reserve their value. So because everybody is talking now, through the internet, through the information age, so everybody is talking, and everybody, they're hearing and understanding things that they would not be able to hear, because groups of people with money used to talk to each other and the poor speaks to each other. Now, the second reason why this idea of asset ownership is going to the mainstream is pretty much because of what happened, what the government had to do just after the pandemic. The Federal Reserve Bank really had to print a lot of money. Somewhere between, I think, $7 to $8 trillion was printed within just a short period of time. And everybody, when folks hear that, they start to ask questions, where all this money come from? Did it just pop out of thin air? Did they just print that money? So I think that really opened the eyes of a lot of people. And not only here in the US, but throughout the world, of central banks in different countries had to print so much money to stimulate the economy, to actually keep the country the economy going in these countries. So people start to ask questions and realize that the currency, that the money that they are holding in their hands does not have real backing, does not have real reserve. It's just printing of money. Now, this thing that's happening right now, there is a starting point. I think it was probably 1971 when Nixon actually cut the gold peg to the US dollar, and pretty much the US currency is not backed by any real value. And at the same time, many currencies across the world is backed by the US dollar. So those countries are using the US dollar as their backing, and the US dollar is not using anything. So that's pretty much one of the main reasons why folks have become aware of, maybe they have to buy things, they have to acquire things that can grow in value or actually held their value over time, like real estate, like I would say stocks, because of productivity in companies, stocks grow in value, and precious metals because they are limited, in supply, and more recently Bitcoin. Now the third reason actually is the creation of Bitcoin. One of the questions that most people will ask is, why does Bitcoin has value? And the simple reason is the fact that there is limited supply, and there's just 21 million, and there will not be any more. So no one can just go somewhere and add more to it and print more or to print more Bitcoin. So it's finite. It's a finite amount, which is not the case for currencies. Central banks in any country can decide to print more, and as more is printed, the value of the ones that was already printed pretty much goes down. So when the central bank decide to print the currency of any country, the currency that you have in your pocket automatically lost its value. So people become aware, that maybe I should not hold all my wealth, all my sweat, all my savings in the local currency, because the central bank of my country is going to print and reduce this value that I've worked so hard to obtain. So this video was pretty much to go a little bit deeper in explaining the reason why and how this idea of asset ownership developed over time, and some of the factors that make this concept, this idea of asset ownership, much more relevant today and is spreading throughout the mainstream. This was the video for today. Thank you for your time.